Hello, this is Ben. Today we're going to be talking about C# math, basic input, and decision making. This represents the makeup week, week 3, and I will have about 3 videos for this week. You can check out the first one, the math one, and then input, basic input, and then finally decision making. We're also going to be using Xamarin a little bit here to demonstrate some of the basics of C# math today, so you might want to open that up. I've got it opened in the background here. So this is just coming directly from R.B. Whitaker's book, and the first thing we're going to look at is operations and operators. So in most programming languages, we refer to operations as basically a finite thing that can be performed, a finite action that can be taken, and those are made up of operators and operands. So the operator, for example, in the expression a equals x plus 5, the most obvious operator is the plus sign. That shows that the x and the 5 are being operated upon and signed into a. So that's the most important thing to understand in terms of how you're dissecting code, is what actual operands are being placed into the thing that's going to operate on it. So they're kind of like parameters that go into that operation. So in this case, x is an operand and the operator is plus. There's actually another operator in the above equation. Those of you that have had programming class before can probably spot it pretty quickly. It is the equals sign. That is what we call in programming an assignment operator, and it actually operates upon everything on the right-hand side of the equation and puts it into everything on the left-hand side of the equation, and we'll get to the complexities of that a little bit later. So in programming, there's unary, binary, and tertiary operators, and this refers to how many operands the operator takes. So for example, we're going to see some unary operators like a plus and a minus that can be used with just one operand. And like in the case of the minus, that takes the value that's in the operand and negates it. And then binary operators, for example, is the x plus 5, and we'll see some tertiary operators even later in the course. So for addition, subtraction, division, it's all pretty simple, pretty much what you would expect. So here we have some examples of int a equals 2, and then we can say int score equals a plus 5. One second here, just ignore the beeping. So the variable score now has 7 in it. And you can also chain these things together as long as you want. So for example, here we have int score equals a plus score bonus minus score penalty. So that's pretty much basic, how you'd expect it to be. I'm going to pause and let you play around with some stuff in Xamarin in a second here. For multiplication and division, these work as you would expect to. So for example, we can have a 5% modifier here where we can say equals a equals, or int score equals a plus 5 times 0.01, which will basically give us 0.05, plus the score bonus minus the score penalty, so you can chain those together as much as you want. Or we could have that be a modifier on score bonus by saying basically your score bonus is going to be 5% of whatever the bonus is. So 5 times 0.01, that gives us the 5%, and then times the score bonus minus the score penalty. These are just sort of fake things I've concocted. And of course the difference between those two is one is basically a multiplier, another one is just a finite addition that adds on the 0.05. So trying out these basic rules of math and that kind of thing in assignment operators, what I want us to do is create a quick program that computes the area of a triangle. So remember, the area of a triangle is a equals 1/2 base times height. We're going to put that into Xamarin. I'm going to open up Xamarin here. I'm just going to keep these slides in the background. I'm going to go up to File. I have to remember how to do this. We might be a little rusty because we haven't looked at this in a while, but I'm going to go to File, New, Solution. We'll say Console Project. Name this one Math. You'll notice that I have mono game listed on my solution types. I'm currently testing that out and getting us ready for somewhere around week 10 when we'll actually give that a shot. Okay, so here's my new console project. And very simply, all I'm asking you to do is the area of a triangle, so int area of triangle equals base 0.5 times base times height. And if you want to, so the 1/2 base times height, if you want to, you can put the parentheses in. It won't hurt anything to do so, but of course in this case, the laws of multiplication, you could leave them out too. Now what we have to do is we have to set our base and our height. I'm going to use a float here. So base equals 2.2, 2.3. We're going to set our height to 5.2. I'm going to call this base triangle because it looks like base is a reserved word that's not working for us here. So I'm just going to call this base triangle. And that should be written out to the screen. Hello world. I'm going to say my triangle is triangle area is, if we do the plus sign here again, just refreshing your memory, that's what allows us to print out to the screen, area of triangle. And we'll try printing that out to the screen. So start without debugging. And this is just compiling in. Oh, I'm kind of glad I got these error messages. I wanted to show you these. So this is converting. Doubles are automatically what C# assumes you're going to be using. So there's a couple ways to fix this if you want to fix it. We can either say 0.3f, which will instantly give us a float. Do it like that. That's one way to do it, and I'll show you another way to do it in just a second here. So 2.3f is the floating point value for 2.3, and that just turns it into a float for us. Press the wrong button there. Hold on one second. Try running that again. My virus scanner didn't like the fact that I was running math.exe on it. Give it 1 sec to boot up. And then we get my triangle area is 5.98. So that's essentially what we wanted to see. I told you I was going to show you another way to do it. One other way you can do it is you can say float that casts it to a float. That's one thing you can do. Another thing you can do is you can just call these things doubles instead of floats. So for example, double. This is one other way of solving it. Double is basically twice as big as a float and has more space for you to store real value numbers. So that would fix it as well. Getting back to our slides, there's also an operation, a math operation called mod that we use quite a bit in all of computer science, really. This is a similar concept to what you learned in elementary school math. For example, what would 5 divided by 2 be? That is 2 remainder 1. If you want to do that in programming for C#, you do 5% 2, and that ends up being 1. So that's the same as saying 5 mod 2. Meanwhile, if both of these are integer valued and you do 5 div 2, 5 divide 2 in other words, you would get 2. So that's a really good device for determining if a number is even or odd, because basically anything that you mod by 2, if you get 0, it's an even number, otherwise it's an odd number. So if you have a number and you want to detect that it's even or odd, you can do the modulus operator, and you can test it versus 0, and if it is 0, then you know that you have an even number, otherwise you know that you have an odd number. It's also good for making patterns and that kind of thing if you want to do an every other one, or maybe you want to do an every third one, in which case you would mod it by 3. Unary plus and minus operators are very basic as well. So, for example, if we want the health to be -5, we can just say in health equals -5, and minus becomes the operator. So one thing beginning programmers often ask is why the equal sign doesn't mean equals. It's actually what we called earlier on an assignment operator. For example, when we say x equals a plus b, you're actually assigning a plus b into the variable x. So it's an operator in and of itself. The operator is the equals in this case, and the operands are the a plus b, the combined value of a plus b, and x. So you can think of the equals symbol as an assignment operation. Other things to keep in mind is that you can do compound assignment operators, such as in score plus equals 5, that modifies the actual value of what's in score. So that's similar to saying, for example, I'll show you on Xamarin. That's similar to saying, if we wipe this out here, in score equals 5. Now if you wanted to say, add another 5 to that, you could say score plus equals 5, and this results in 10. This is similar to if you wanted to say score equals score plus 5, it gives you the same result. Either way, we'd get the same result here. So it's just a shorthand way of saying score equals score plus 5. Turns out we do that so often that we just kind of made a shortcut way for us to say it. And that is it for the math side of things. Hopefully the next video will be the same basic length and time, 10 minutes or under, and we'll be covering basic input, and then we'll go on to some decision making. I think we have some more advanced math stuff to cover next time as well. So see you soon.